Call this meeting to order. I welcome you to the Hamblen County Legislative Body Committee meetings for this May 12th, 2025. Commissioners, please turn your mics on, and we'll get down to business. We'll start off with our Justice Jail Center Public Safety Committee. Chairman Tim Horner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll call the Justice Center Public Safety Committee to order. If anyone wishes to address, may do so at this time. You'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none, item 3A, no business. Item 4A, Justice Center Project Update, Jaron Dowater, Burwell Construction.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'll give you guys a quick update on progress schedule as we go through some of these photos here as well. I'm sure you've driven by, see some of the progress on the exterior there. All the paving has been completed as of last week. All parking lots have been shut down until they stripe it, which is coming up this Thursday, weather permitting. Along the street there, you can see it as well, all paved and finished there. Grass is growing and coming in. It's looking good. Some different photos of the site here. Just look at here's a spread out view of it, but the little turnstiles as you enter or leave the space. They did add a nice little touch to it with etched glass on there that says Tennessee, Hamblen County on there. Just some more photos. That's more of a attorney inmate location. There's an inmate location on the other side of that would be the attorney's place to speak to them prior to going into court. Just showing you some of the finishes that are being done. This is one of the pods. All that's pending in this location is above the inspections and closing up ceilings. So you see all the ceiling tiles sitting there ready to go. Each of those different locations on the different floor levels are in different stages of progression there, where they're still pulling wires and things on some of the other floors, but some of these are just about ready. Here's a before picture. This is kind of what we looked at, adding that mesh to those courtyards, the windows that are there that are facing the west side there. It just kind of shows you where with that mesh in place. That's something we discussed a couple months back in getting that approved and done. This is more of a dormitory. I'm not quite sure what location that is. It's down in the first level. It's like a work house dormitory. Is that correct? Okay. But primarily complete. Camera systems are in. Ceilings are done. There's just a few things that they're finalizing in that space. Some kitchen equipment. More kitchen equipment that's been set and not completely set, but at least delivered and there on site. There's your laundry system location here as well. Showing kind of the finished gate system that's there on the north side. Landscaping's in, grass is growing. Oh, went too far. Thank you. Give you guys a quick project status. We went through some of that. On the courthouse side, yeah, we can leave it on that photo. That's good. The courthouse side, they're primarily just pending above ceiling final inspection by the architect. Every local jurisdiction has already cleared everything up there. We'll be doing walkthroughs this Friday. Pending any issues, we'll be dropping ceiling tiles right after that and finalizing that space. Jail side, we're pretty much done with all plumbing, HVAC. It's all been roughed in and approved. They're just going through any of the startups and testing that needs to go in place, HVAC balancing that needs to take place. So it's moving along there. Electrical rough-in is still being finalized on some of the levels, with security just flowing right behind them on that. Mentioned paving's complete, striping's taking place. We were submitted a completion schedule. It's kind of what we've been pending to finalize all our discussions. But they have submitted a completion schedule with a substantial completion of July 31st, 2025. There'll be a 2-month period after that, a 60-day period after that for final completion. That's that time we're going in and moving in and getting operational. Contract value is sitting at $95,038,489.11. With their last pay application, they are sitting at 98.55% complete with a total in place of $92,659,194.11. Open up for questions?
Any questions?
The July 31st, 25, is that opening date for inmates or turning the keys over to the sheriff's department? Which one is it?
It's neither. It's a substantial completion, which means it is technically fully operational, but it's a date that is set to allow them to start moving in. They have 60 days beyond that to get final completion, to where it's handed over completely at that point.
So you are looking at turning the keys over. Give me a date, please.
60 days beyond July, August, September.
End of September.
Yeah, this is the end of September. The exact date is 60 days from that date.
September 31st is
Yeah, it's a few days
basically
before
turn the
that.
keys over.
I don't recall the exact date, but it's a few days before that.
Now, my next question, and thank you for responding to my email. I was just curious. When do you expect that we will be able to start accepting inmates into this? Being that the jail we have is not, don't take this the wrong way, I wouldn't put my poor little dog in that place.
No, understood. I don't think it's under our purview, construction side, to say when they'll be in there. Is to get the project done. So we're looking at substantial completion and the final completion. When they all get things set up and ready to go on their end, it's beyond my paycheck.
Okay. So September 31st, you should be turning it over for them to start moving everything in.
Substantial completion, we start turning over to allow them to start moving their stuff in and getting it operational. So testing,
Training and all that good
yeah,
stuff.
training,
Yeah.
some of the owner's furniture, which is already going in, some of it's already going in. So, yeah, there's that time period there.
Now, so far, you said a walkthrough. Have you found any problems? Like, I've heard rumors of cracked flooring and everything else, but I've not been in it since we went through with you folks, and I absolutely was shocked to death because one of the officers, and this was before you put the little door additions on,
Yes.
he stuck his arm all the way back to there, and I thought, my God, it's impressive that you could do that. So you haven't seen anything else that you've been through it or so forth?
There is no issues further with that at all. Everything was to design in that sense, to where it formed structurally what needed to be there, and there's been no deflection beyond that. So per design, it is substantial at that point.
No other issues either?
With that, no.
No, with anything else?
There's always ongoing issues.
Let me clarify
Yes.
my question. What are the ongoing issues?
There's things that we're negotiating, which we've been in discussions before. Now we have final completion, we'll move forward with some of those and finalize those as well.
But if I understand correctly, that's just a matter of what I say, money differences, and who's going to cover the mess up. And maybe it's a poor choice of words, but that's the way I look at it,
In some sense, yes.
as a business point of view.
Yes.
I know if I were the owner, that's definitely how I look at it, that was not a bill I wanted to service. But other than that, you're not telling me that you haven't noticed anything else?
Nothing substantial. There's things we're having discussions with, but for access, the way parking lots have shifted, and where people are parking, that there might need to be access. But those are things that just get worked out on the project. If it becomes a money issue, we'll present it here and discuss it.
Are you looking for any more, shall I say, change orders?
There will probably be something in the works for that. We have 2 CCDs out, construction change directives. The first one was only partially submitted. I'm sure the rest will be submitted here shortly. The second one, as we get going and putting in that railing, that'll be put into a change order as well. So,
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, item 4B, the construction change directive, we handled that last month, and that's already been done, so.
it's done and approved.
So,
Appreciate it.
thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Horner. Thank you, Mr. Dowater. We'll now move on to the Finance Committee. Chairman Rodney Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I call the Finance Committee to order. Is anyone wishing to speak for the committee may do so at this time? Seeing none, we will move to number 3. You have your expenditure reports and your monthly checks. Hope you went over those. There is no old business. We'll start with the new business, 5A, funding year 25 Homeland Security Grant application. That's through EMA Director Chris Bell, and he's not here tonight. And what this is $24,000 in a security grant, and that will be divided between the 4 volunteer fire departments. Mr. Mayor, you want to address?
My understanding, that item has been removed. It's late, nope,
No,
that
not-
changed back?
Not this.
Not this one, it was the FEMA EOC grant that was
the
removed.
FEMA EOC.
Ah, my bad. My apologies, I'm misreading something. You go ahead.
Like I said, this grant, we have this every year, and he divides it between the departments, and this year it's going to be divided between the 4 volunteer fire departments. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
First by Mr. Doty, second by Mr. Harville. Any discussion?
I have one question, sir. Am I reading that correctly, that our match is $37,500 apiece?
There is no match on this.
Okay,
This
that's
is
what I want clarification.
$24,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Not, we have a first, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to 5B, construction contract between Hamblen County Government and the contractor Construction Partners LLC for the Hamblen County Health Department. Mr. Mayor?
Apologies once again on the previous one. Commissioner Green and I were on the same page. That 37.5 was for the EOC that was taken off.
Okay, thank you.
My apologies. So, the construction contract between Hamblen County Government and Construction Partners. If you recall, last month, we accepted the bids for the Hamblen County Health Department and the alternates, the base bid and the alternates that will be at the Oak Tree Plaza. As far as this is the construction contract, it has been reviewed by our county attorney.
Any questions? Do I have a motion? Motion. Motion by Mr. Richardson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ahern. Any discussion?
We need to know how much the bid was.
The total amount of that bid, Mr. Mayor. I don't have it marked in my book.
You get right here.
We're moving,
Yeah.
it's right here, contract sum, Article 4, page 2.
Page 3. Get that?
I'm looking for the final number.
It's page 3, article number 4, the contract sum is $4,483,000 and change plus the alternates.
Plus the alternates, that's right. Page 3 of the contract, Article 4.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5C is equipment rental agreement from Diverse Computing for the Hamblen County Sheriff's Department. Captain Creed,
Yep.
speak on that.
So what that is basically, it's no different than what 911 has for us to be able to run things NCIC through the database. The only thing this is changing is we'll be able to do that in-house. Running stolen stuff, running wanted people, different things where they can run it directly from their cars. And also we can enter wanted people. It's going to take a little bit of load off of 911 is what it's going to do. But we'll just have a terminal in-house, just like Morristown Police Department's already been doing for 20 years. We'll just be doing the same thing.
All right. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Harville. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Walker. Any discussion?
On page 3 of that one, if I've got the last contract, you have a section 3.10 on indemnification. And I think we have basically the same thing we had with Cherokee Park. And we can't do that if I remember what our county attorney let us know. If you'll go to the section that says 3.10. Unless I've grabbed the wrong one, and I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't have what you're looking at, but also if it's something that says we'll indemnify anything, I believe we've established that that's not the case.
Well, it
And if
doesn't
it-
need to be in the contract.
If it's in that
then,
contract, then we'll take another look at it. I'm not looking at what you guys are looking at, but if it's in there, then before we go through with that, we'll certainly take care of it.
Page 3 of this. Section 3.10.
3.10 or 01?
3.10, indemnification. Page 3 of the equipment rental agreement. Here's what it looks like right here. Section 3.10, indemnification. Equipment rental agreement, page 3.
So it's on page 3, right?
Yep.
My page 3 is not different.
Ah.
My page 3 is 2.
Oh,
Let me look over here, see if I can find something else.
It's under section 3.0, page 3.
You got more over here on the front side.
yeah, it says,
Bring it
Okay.
blind.
There's two
Equipment
parts
rental
of
agreement.
this.
3.10,
It's the very first
right
part.
there. It should be right in there somewhere. Indemnification.
it's right after,
It's right here.
it's right after drawing index. And
So,
Find it.
well, it's kind of screwy here because
It's a long one. That's not long enough for it. I must have used, it's section 3.10.
That was 3.01.
No,
Yes.
3.1.
3.1.
Page 3.
Did you find it, Mr. Harvey? Did I misunderstand it?
No, I don't think so. I'm looking to see if there's any other, any place
you.
else.
if you go to Exhibit B, it's different, but Exhibit A, I think it's out of place. Exhibit A should be in front of this. Right here,
I think it was in the first set.
Rodney.
There's different sets there. Sorry, I should have clarified. I apologize to you.
oh, yeah, I see Exhibit A, and then this one just has equipment rental agreement, and it's on page 3.
I got it.
Right there.
Go back
You're welcome.
to this drawing book.
Did you find it, Warren? Did you find it?
What?
Did you find it?
Find what?
Okay, it's not in Exhibit A.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
It is confusing.
It's this
Talking about,
one.
right here.
I just pulled my sheet.
Page 3.
Mr. Capps, have you had a chance to look at that?
I haven't. We're trying to find it, and what we have, what I'm looking at doesn't have anything.
Well-
It's, there's 2 sections to it, it looks like.
There's
and
2
it's
page
almost a-
3s.
Yeah, there's 2 page 3s.
I apologize, Chairman, I should have specified.
I'm sorry?
I apologize, I should have specified better, sir.
It's just
Yeah,
the way
there's
it's
2 page
set up.
3s. I didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be in there.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
So we need to,
Been down that road
yeah. So we need to
Amen.
redo this.
multiple times.
Do we need to table this? Just go ahead. Or we can change a motion.
You can make a motion to approve with the removal of this clause. If you wanted to do so, or you could table it until,
Who had the first on that motion?
Does it come back to us?
Mr. Harville?
Go ahead with it?
well, what I suggest, if you approve this,
That's
to
what I
move
said.
forward pending removal of this statement, then it'll come to you in the commission on the
Right.
22nd, and you can review it at that point and be certain that it's removed, and if not, you can push it off.
I like that.
Mr. Harville, you willing to change the
Yeah,
motion?
I'm willing to stipulate that, yes.
Mr. Walker, you seconded, you will. Before we vote on that, does everybody understand what we're voting on? Any questions?
Did you find it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Did you find it?
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Go to 5D, the opiate abatement funding recommendations for $20,000 to the Third Judiciary District Recovery Court and $10,000 to the DARE program. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, the committee met May the 6th and approved these recommendations that are before you. $20,000 to the Third Judicial Recovery Court Support Services, a nonprofit for the expansion of their transitional housing.
This is
And
the
funding
quietest
of-
meeting I've had in 10 years.
Funding of $10,000 to the Hamblen County Sheriff's Department to expand their DARE program. That comes from this committee. Obviously, that committee has no bearing, it's just a recommendation. This body needs to take that up and accept.
We have a motion.
moved.
Motion by Mr. Ahern, Miss Ahern, excuse me. Thinking about Al. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Doty. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Got a meeting?
Opposed? Motion carries. We have budget amendments. We will start with E1. It'll be Hamblen County Department of Education Budget Amendment Number 8, increase of $1,467,548.74. Mr. Ladd?
Good evening. So the first page of the amendment is for summer school. I think it was to the penny of what we got last year. That's state funded. It's 19 days in June. It'll be June the 2nd through the 26th. We're projecting about 570 students to attend. On the following page, we received $29,000 in insurance proceeds from Russellville, where a car ran through the wall last year. The next lines are for TISA on behalf payments, so that is money that does not really make it to us from the state. It goes to juvenile detention centers, individualized education accounts, and ACT testing. So this is just a state-required entry, just an accounting entry. And then we're moving some funds around in the SPED pre-K grant. We're moving it out of supplies and materials into contracted services. This is to cover psychologists. We're short on psychologists, so we're having to contract them out. And then finally, the acceptance of the Career Z Award. This is a CTE-based award, also known as Captivate, and it just expands work-based learning within the schools. Any questions?
Yes, sir. When you mentioned summer school, is that a makeup or is that explain it to me?
That's the standard summer school that we have every year. It'll be
I got
at
that.
three schools, Hillcrest, Lincoln, and Westview.
Yes, sir. Okay.
But that's just the standard summer school.
Okay, for them to kind of make up what they missed or to,
It's really targeted at students that are at risk
Behind.
of failing
Yeah,
or
okay.
the state mandated, like the third grade test.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Mr. Ladd, does that cover the third grade test failures?
Yes.
So they can go to summer school and pass?
I would have to check on that, but I know it is all related to the third grade test.
Is that a breakfast, lunch deal?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm positive on lunch. I think they serve breakfast as well, and it's transportation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
That's cool.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, how many students do we have in school? Do you know that number close?
Just over
roughly?
10,000. I don't know the exact
That's
number.
close
but I know.
enough, 10,500 or so
Yes.
at risk or
Yeah.
something for this summer school program.
Yes, and as far as the at-risk, the number that we saw was 1,740, but I mentioned 570 projected enrollment, so, I guess a lot of kids don't want to go to summer school.
But a lot of those are third graders.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Doty. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ahern. Any discussion?
I'd just like to ask a question, if I may.
Yes.
What do you attribute to there being so many third graders in this particular section? And the reason I ask, I have one that's 5 that will start the school system in a little while, so I'm just curious.
Well, it's not just third graders, but the state mandates, they have a test in third grade, and I remember last year, it was all over the news on the students that were being held
Yes.
back just on account of that one test.
Yes.
Good students.
Yes.
We have good students that are doing really well, and this state mandated test comes up for third grade, and it's mandatory you pass it. If you don't,
You're held back.
you're held back. And we've had some issues, I guess, to say the least, with the community with it, so.
Yeah, I
Not
know.
nothing you've done, I mean, by no means.
There's middle school students in that too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one at Westview.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Move to E2, Fund Number 101, Civil Defense for $538.25. Ms. Hale?
The budget amendment before you is to increase the part-time personnel line for EMA and associated taxes. Director Bell is utilizing the volunteers, but they get a minimum amount of pay for events that they work. And this year, because of the hurricane and different things, they used them more than anticipated, and he's asked for additional funds to cover that.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Walker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harville. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Go to E3, Fund 101, transfer out of $166,024.
Earlier this year, Commission approved funding the purchase of a new fire engine for South Hamblen County Volunteer Fire Department, and the bids came in over and above what the grant would cover, and y'all voted to make up that difference with South Hamblen contributing as well. So that fire engine will be paid out of Fund 171. That's where those special projects go through. So this amount is being moved from general fund to the Fund 171 to cover that purchase of the fire engine. That's already been approved.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Harville. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ahern. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just really quick.
Yes.
Ms. Ahern, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Ms. Green brought up a point at our last commission meeting about the indemnification clauses in our contracts, and then again on this one. And she made the point that our county attorney needs to review any and all contracts that come before us. I would like to petition this body and make a motion that we hire our county attorney to review any and all contracts and make recommendations and changes upon those as applicable. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, please, sir.
Okay, you hear the motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Motion dies. Motion dies for the lack of a second.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I have, Mr.
All right, thank you, Chairman Long. We'll now move on to the Personnel Committee
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
and Chairman Thomas Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we have any visitors wishing to address the committee about agenda items only? They may do so now. Have 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move forward. With old business, we have none. With new business, we have the approval of education pay submissions. We have 2 associates that have continued their education. I need a motion to approve.
So move.
So move, Mr. Horner. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Reed. Thank you. Any discussion on these? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. With no other items of interest, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Doty. Now move on to the Calendar Rules Committee. I'll call upon Chairman Thomas Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll call to order the Calendar and Rules Committee. Do we have any visitors wishing to address this committee about agenda items? If so, they'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none, move on to old business. With old business, we have none. With new business, we have the review of our regular calendar items. We have change in item 9C under equipment rental agreement, diverse computing, to add with the removal of the indemnification clause to be approved during our regular commission meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. So moved.
Ms. Ahern, thank you for the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Horner. All those in favor? Excuse me, any discussion on this? Hearing none, move forward. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have the review of our regular consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Warren, second by Mr. Huntsman. Any discussion on these? Hearing none. Call for the vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Doty, appreciate that. Before we move on to our budget committee, we're going to pause for a 5-minute recess, and then we'll return. We're recessed.
Percentage is 5%. I don't guess it's a big percentage.
Well, no, but, to me, they're
On the contract
do
with jail,
well, but they don't just.
they gonna have to identify how the contract is divided on
There it
us.
is, and there's the pressure.
And then
And all they
for
gotta
the
do-
Especially when they know they're
rentals, for the jail,
Oh, yeah.
they've got us sketching up, identify the
Now,
same
what's
thing they had for
alarming is
Cherokee Park.
if I heard him say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They'll go behind, they'll get behind.
I think the paper said the 22nd. The paper said the 22nd. Huh?
But I mean,
I mean, it's always been a while, but it seems like,
when I was on Carnegie, and they, okay, this, you got them. And it was like, the only story I can tell you is the kid said, can you believe that teacher gave me that? Are you kidding me? She gave me that. You know what? What'd you earn? And you know, it's because everybody.
That'd be personnel,
wants
wouldn't
kids to do well. But, you know.
It's not on there.
How many parents say?
You talking about as far as electing the commissioner?
Looking at this,
As far as
and let's
electing the
read,
commissioner?
you know.
What?
As far as electing the commissioner?
I've seen
Yeah, I don't know for sure what we're doing. I don't know.
You see it with your children, they do that with their kids.
Didn't we do it last time?
You're not gonna go do that, you're gonna do that.
I think we
know,
did.
it's kind of like the parents would come in and IEP meeting, and I would say, well, you've already done the most amazing thing, and it's sacrifice because both parents were.
it's crazy.
Yes. You know, and.
We don't need to hire a second attorney. We just
You
need
know,
somebody
are
to do
you
the
helping
job
the teacher help your child?
and send it
You
to
don't
him.
have a lot of that.
If he ain't got enough knowledge to do it for him, get somebody that does.
Parents who, you know.
I look forward to seeing him in
You know,
court on
we
August
Get
20th.
Johnny out of first grade
See
to
if he has to
interpret
pay
for
back
mom.
that over where he charged Hamblen County for the last several years.
Yeah, in a way, but you know.
Who caught that about that indemnity?
Of course, now they have phones they can.
I'm considered one of
Okay,
the
here's what I'm
biggest
trying to
idiots
tell
on
you.
here. I can't even get on the finance committee,
My son has, he's got
even though I
construction
have tried.
They're never gonna
He
learn.
has a lot of Spanish.
Well, they don't
And I
want
thought
to.
about
They
buying
don't want
him
anybody
one of
ask
those
questions.
earwigs that
They want somebody that
they
sits
hear
like a
and they
dunce.
interpret for
Oh,
him.
wow, yeah.
And unfortunately, I have a business degree and I use it.
And there it is.
There's no
But,
back
you
to
know,
school at
That was the
45.
amazing thing when you mentioned about the Pope.
It makes me mad, Wayne, when I think
You know,
about
the
it.
very first time and he comes out on the balcony, I got to see that moment. And, you know, on TV, but the commentator said he spoke flawless Italian and flawless Spanish. No English, you know.
He does Spanish, Italian, English, Latin,
Portuguese.
Portuguese. And there was one other one.
Was it French?
different.
Sales tax went down this year for 3 years. Is that because the city annexed all that property?
And you realize
City sales tax.
that was God's gift. And you know,
This is for this year. They're projecting
what I
this
heard
this
later,
year.
you know, all that growing up.
This was this year.
Yeah, see, it's up a little bit.
Mom and Dad, come on,
You know, I guess they're
Some
probably.
brought it down,
you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd rather them project it low.
Probably
Although I tell you, I was
city annexed.
stunned.
If they annexed it, we wouldn't get it.
Stunned.
God's work.
Yeah, except for one thing.
Sales tax portion.
Francis brought him in 23 to do some stuff in the car to be in Rome. Now that tells you. So he knew
Everybody I've talked to, Senator Klein.
So he was along the line.
Well, they can't. They don't have it. And this, the new appraisals has scared more than once to death. I have catered emails most of this week. I understand why they're concerned.
She would walk every step of
I've got to touch base with Keith Ely next week. Mama's plumb excited. She got
the rest
hers.
of those people down there, they wanted to do.
this is most of them.
Everything was about, their impression that they have against
Well,
somebody
the
else.
sad
Like,
part is, and you've heard it ever since I went in, that we need a property tax
with their
increase.
work clothes in.
And the jail's a whole nightmare that's a sinking its boat with more and more. We're 20-something officers short at the jail.
And then they
Might need him.
And I noticed the list in there. Did you go through their budget book?
they tried to
Did you look at how many,
they were
as far as
somebody
lieutenants, captains, and all that good stuff for the jail?
we were laying blocks.
We gotta
Tell
have
me where the
that.
money's coming from.
We gotta get the paperwork for sure.
And went to the church.
Honey, we don't even have regular, if I understand correctly, we don't even have flaggers at the road department,
Poorest person
which is a lawsuit in the making.
in the United
Okay.
States is way better.
I've seen flaggers
And
with
when
the
I see
county.
him today
How
with Danny
nice, I was
Grant,
told
you see,
that they promoted
you know,
all
and I realize.
that we no longer have flaggers. I know what the laws are of
Okay,
towing,
things are
and I
tough,
figure those
but
ain't
you don't
much
know.
different.
Because you haven't been there, no,
Yeah, you're not as tough as you.
We have some pure idiots out
And
there.
yet, you know, they can be cheerful and it just
Because if we
always
have a
stuns
lawsuit
me.
over that and we don't have a flagger,
And you know, that's
we've
the
lost
thing.
that lawsuit.
I understand Trump's ways going, but
And I don't know how you feel about it, but I
you
don't
know,
believe in throwing
there are
money away.
programs, and that's what I love about cafeteria.
It's a sin as far as I'm
You know, I mean,
concerned.
there's
city's becoming so many cruisers out here.
you know, Penny?
I don't know. We can't listen to that anymore because they went digital everything.
You know, if we can help them, they see, you know, are we being Christ-like?
I can make a
That
phone
might
call and
help
find
them.
out, but
You
I
know,
didn't
he
take time to do
said-
that
but-
today. I
but
had too
just,
many
you know,
other,
that's-
I was going,
This was right before we got here.
Golly, let's
I was
hope-
going over
let's-
everything and I was a
let's-
little bit frustrated, so
Yeah.
at least on that.
You know, no, you don't have to pray with me, you just, let me help you, and then you'll, you know, come, but anyway. But where would we be without the mission trip? It's just, you know, how hard it would be, I would think, to leave. You know, you couldn't take that book out. And you knew.
No, they did. They
that
did.
Unless somebody came back, it wasn't gonna
She's
be
not gonna
pretty for
change
her.
much.
You know.
Much change.
And that's my prayer, you know, I think, dear Heavenly Father, please take care of these people who are the children who are abused, trafficked, neglected.
Thank you. We will now call the Budget Committee meeting for Monday, May the 12th, 2025 to order. I'd just like to say something before we get started. We are starting our new budget, and I'm quite sure everyone understands that this is trying times. I want everyone to be patient. Remember, tonight, we are not setting a budget when people come before us. We are listening to their presentation. If you have questions, ask them. And at this time, if we have any visitors wishing to address the Budget Committee, they can at this time. Seeing none, we have no old business. We will work into the new business. 4A is the fiscal year 2025-26 budget overview presented by County Mayor Chris Cutshaw. Mr. Mayor?
Good evening, Commissioners. Here we go. Fiscal year 25-26 budget overview. There's a lot to discuss. There's many items that we will need to probably dive into and explain and talk about. The main thing to understand is that this before you is a compilation, or the ideas that you will be seeing is a compilation of every department and their request as presented. That's what you're going to have before you. The documents that you're going to have, that you have, is as requested. During the budget meetings, Finance Director, myself, our accountant, Chairman Long attended as many as he could. We discussed with each department and tried to whittle down what we can minus their request. So I want everybody to understand that this is a fluid document that we're going to be going through. Tonight's overview will reflect some of that. That said, there'll be a lot to discuss. So just take that in mind. This is the beginning of the process. Draft 1. What you have is draft 1. That doesn't mean that's the end of the day. I'm just letting you know where it's at. So as we get started, we held our first departmental meetings were held in March and April. Using that information, the budget was compiled in April and May. Our budget committee meetings begin today. And today is our first one, and this process could take us all the way to the end of June for various reasons. We hope to have all of our work done. Understand, this is a reassessment year. We hope to have all of our work done as far as this budget committee and what goes to the commission as far as the budget, what we're presenting, done and ready for reassessment when it comes in the certified rate. That will be changing, no doubt. The certified rate will be changing. This year we're using bank bags. These are our department structures, our budget structures for each department, each fund. You have it right there before you, our general fund, sanitation fund, highway capital projects, debt service, and schools. These are our bank bags. Our revenue sources. We have local revenue is provided only by a few ways, and that is property taxes is the number one. Sales tax, our wheel tax, which is $50 right now, and that's $27 for general fund and $23 for that goes directly to the paving of our roads. We have our county fee offices, and a lot of them they provide the services that offset their own operation. State grants, federal through state agency grants, and transfer from other funds. Those are our revenues. This begins the process of understanding where we're at. Our sales tax revenue, as of this year, you can see we are possibly going to end the year slightly above what we did the year before as far as sales tax. So what we're seeing, though, in the last few months has been a trend of under just a little bit year to year. Now, 5 years prior, we've had extensive growth. We've had great and wonderful growth. But what we've seen recently is a leveling off. Therefore, you see that we are conservatively estimating our sales tax revenue to be less next year. Now, obviously, we hope, right? We're hoping that it'll overcome our estimations, but yet just to have the best figures possible and not to overestimate, this is what we're looking at next year. It's about $1 million plus under sales tax next year. I hope we outperform that, but that is our estimation to what we have. Obviously, most of the information that we deal with is what's in front of us and what we have now. That's what we're basing our decisions on, and the estimations that we have. So in the sales tax distribution, many of you understand and know that all sales tax dollar collected in this county, 50% goes straight to the schools. Of that, next year, the estimated tax going to the school system is $20 million and $20,400,000. The remaining sales tax goes to the general, solid waste, and highway funds. And if you'll look, there's not a whole lot left as far as what portion the county gets in that sales tax revenue. Estimated, like to go, our proposed budget has solid waste getting, or the general fund only $17,000 in sales tax. $1.9 million goes to solid waste fund. $200,000 to the general purpose, highway public works fund. And $20 million to our school system. Now again, that is state mandated as far as the 50% of all sales tax dollars. This is causing a lot of angst and anxiety in our county. I want everybody to understand something, and we can discuss this and jump in if you need to. The last time, tell me, last time we had property tax assessment, when was that?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. We all forget, or we've forgotten, it seems, how this works. But every 5 years in our county, we do property reassessments to realign. You okay? Okay. To realign property values. And if you've lived in East Tennessee very long, if you know anything, property values across East Tennessee have risen considerably. County to county, they've held the same type of averages, and they've gone up. But that said, property values does not equal taxes. There's a lot of confusion. In 2020, our property values across the county in real property was $1.7 billion. That was in 2020. Do you know in 5 years that our county now has an estimated real value for property at $2.7 billion? We have increased our value in property $1 billion. That's a big number. So those numbers, understand this, there's a lot of unknowns still in that $2.7 billion assessment because we think it doesn't necessarily include personal property. And personal property would be that of industries that their machines and what have you in each individual industry. So that still may yet be coming, and you may see that rise to close to $3 billion. Another point to be made that we don't have these figures. There's Equalization Board will be meeting, and the appeals process will begin in the 1st of June. There's a 6-week period where those that disagree with the assessment of their property value, that they have the opportunity to come before the Board of Equalization and state their case. So we're predicting up to 5% of that will be adjudicated, and it may lower that value again as far as real property. Any questions? Okay, that said, we'll move on. Again, that has caused a lot of angst and misunderstanding as far as the values, and I'd love for everyone to understand this. These 13 commissioners right now, and we may be adding another, I want you guys to understand this process. When your constituents call, you be able to intelligently tell them how this works. Okay? We don't know what the new certified rate will be. Currently in our county, it's $1.97. It's $1.76 for the whole county per $100 of assessed value. 21 cents is added in our county portion that covers our sanitation needs. The city, inside the city rate is $1.76. We expect that rate to dramatically decrease. Okay? That's what I'm saying. When someone thinks their property value has doubled, it has, but their taxes have not. So our current property structure, property tax and structure is right here. Currently, We have 85 cents going to our general fund, 43 cents going to general debt service, 48 cents going to general purpose school fund, and then the solid and sanitation for county-only residents of 21 cents, to equal $1.97. That certified tax rate, again, will be reviewed, and after all assessments are done and reported back to the state will send us that certified tax rate. So with that information, what you need to understand is we want to do all we can in our budget and have it ready. Because you can base your budget on revenues that we already know about. You base your budget on the revenues as if it's today's tax rate. It's a revenue neutral assessment. Okay, that said, there's, everybody's doesn't necessarily stay neutral, but yet for the most part, it's a revenue neutral venture that the state mandates us to do. This is not a county-issued situation that we're dealing with. It happens every 5 years in our county. But that said, if we have all of our work done in our budget, in July we expect the certified rate to come in, then you plug in the numbers, and it's basically just accepting the certified rate and moving forward. Any question on that? I'm only on page 4 of block 31. So, general fund overview. Last year, you can see the numbers. We had 16 million estimated fund balance in our 24-25 fiscal year, an increase of 45,000 over the year before. We anticipated using, this is important, we anticipated using last year $4 million of fund balance in the previous year. But the actual expenses were significantly less than anticipated due to the delay of the opening of the Justice Center, Jail and Justice Center. It was less salary, less utilities, insurance, cost, etc. So we did not incur that $4 million. Instead, also, just last month, we transferred some ARPA funds to our general fund. That makes up our 16 million there. But the important part, we started last year, this body voted on a $4 million in the red budget last year that we did not incur. This shows you those numbers and how we got to that in the previous year. We started last year in July 24 at 15, right at 16 million. It shows you our revenues right there, and then projected fund balance is 16 million and $40,911. So as we move into this budget year, currently as the budget sits, as the budget that you will have before you, we have a $4.594 million deficit. That is coming out straight out of fund balance if this body approves it as it sits, as it's presented. That's where it sits. That will include a fully staffed Justice Center, additional funds for utilities and operational costs. It includes requests for additional employees. It includes all the vehicle purchases, and it also includes costs for SRO officers with no offsetting revenue in this current cycle right now of $950,000 that we received last year. Offsetting, there was 800 from the school system and 150 from the city that this year we do not have. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but those are some costs that we're taking on ourselves at this point. General fund overview. Currently, we sit at $16,040,000. Our projected revenues, again, it's a conservative estimation of 29.5 mil, and our expenditures at 34.1. Our fund balance, if we were to pass this budget as presented, our fund balance as of June 30th of 2026 would be $11.4 million. That's 33.5% of our percentage of, toward expenses, revenue over expenses. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So the 11 million is kind of in the sock drawer.
That's our sock drawer, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's one of our
And
bags.
that's, we have met, even though that was in red ink up here, we will have met everything.
That's, yes, there is one portion that's not in our budget yet.
Yes, sir. Okay.
But that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
We have not, and I can spill the beans right away, just if you want to talk about it. Our cost of living raises are not in that 4.5.
Right.
Okay? This body will need to take into consideration those cost of living raises, and we've got figures for you as we get to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, general fund overview, our expenditures for operation this year. We're looking at new employee requests from the circuit court. There's been, by the way, our process, we hope to begin on Saturday. We're asking most department heads, if they can, to be here and present their case to you for these new additional employees or capital expenses. So we would like for them to present their cause to you. I can do that, but I think it's better from each department to give them little tidbits. Maybe I don't recall or what have you, but new employee request. The circuit court is looking for one employee. Sessions court, general sessions between Judge Simkowski and Judge Collins. They would like to have a clerk between those two. Courtroom security. Obviously, that's going to have to be looked at as we expand our services in the new Justice Center. And they're asking for 4 new employees. So there's 6 new employees right there. Funding of a new probation court services. In this past year, we took opioid abatement committee money, or opioid abatement fund money, and funded a new probation service. In the past, that was funded by ETHRA, and there was no cost to the county. Under this adventure, or this venture, I should say, not adventure, but Judge Collins recommended that we open up our own probation court services, and eventually I think it will fund itself. Currently, it is not to that point. So there is capital recurring cost here that we will have to talk about. Funding of 5 SRO officers outside grant funding. Many of you know we have $75,000 per SRO officers from a state grant that comes to us, and it funds that 75 after initial startup. Pretty much takes care of those officers. But we have 5 that are outside of the grant. Why do we have 5 extra outside the grant? We've got 3 schools that have dual locations. Russellville Intermediate, Primary, Alpha Primary and Intermediate, and Manley Primary and Intermediate. That's 3 of those officers, and then we have 1 extra at each high school. Those costs are completely on our county at this point, $425,000. Something to put in your pocket and think about. And we have funding requests also for vehicle purchases. Property assessor is a vehicle, I think it's 10 years old. Again, they'll present their case, but I believe it's 10 years old, and it's time to look ahead. Right, currently they are not having issues, but yet to prevent that, do you surplus what they have and purchase another? Cherokee Park is looking for a used truck, surplus an older one and a used truck. And the Sheriff's Department, they have requested 2 new vehicles. All that's currently in your budget. Funding request from Marshtown Hamblen EMS. Last year, we funded $180,000 for
those lift beds.
The lift beds, thank you. I was thinking of a different word, but you're right, the lift beds. and it was a great purchase. You know, EMS is something that we like to help along. They're their own entity, but this is a county cooperation, and I feel like there should be other cooperation. However, that also is included in your budget to fund a new ambulance, and I think that cost is around $207,000. Yeah, $207,000. That is in your budget totally on the county. It does not, yes, this presented budget does not include the cost of living raise, and we have incurred loss of revenue from the SRO program. Granted, SRO program is not where it was as far as the startup. It cost a lot more on the initial with all the equipment, the vehicles, but there's more coming too that we're discovering. You know, I think Captain, Chief, wasn't there some radio requests?
There is.
Yes. Yeah. So there's some other options that are outside of our budget that may have to be considered by this body. Next page. Oops, did I mess up? Oh,
Try one.
thank you. All right. Yes, capital expenses. We've got Terry Myers, our maintenance superintendent, has gone through the courthouse and replaced flooring. And the one that's left in the new annex is Register of Deeds office. We've got a HVAC replacement need, and I'm quite certain it's in this building that is needed. So those two are in that budget. The vehicles that I spoke of, they're part of that 779. Humane Society capital match. So to update you on that, if you recall, and I can't remember when this actually took place or which commission it was, we gave them the idea if they raised $100,000, we would match their $100,000. But in that, we had already pledged $100,000. So if they raise $100,000, they get $2 from Morristown or from Hamblen County. And that money has been in a fund sitting there for some time waiting. And well, I think they're close. They're really close. The last number I heard, they're within $14,000 of raising $100,000. So we're including that in this budget as to probably be dispersed in this next year. Library capital improvement, the city is combining to help with that. J-turn at Highway 160, if you recall, this body voted to fund $85,000. to go toward that. The school system, the city, and Hamblen County all put in equal amounts to help with a J-turn at MLK and 160. Also, that ambulance request is part of our capital expenses. They requested increases for the nonprofits, Morristown Hamblen Library, $26,000 in operational expense, and then that capital improvement, which will not be part of their maintenance of effort, will be $30,000, and that is for roofing needs and some other items in the library that have to be taken care of. They're showing some issues, like when you go and check the attic, there's some already damaged plywood. Some things that need, is that right, Stan? Correct. Yeah, I was thinking that was correct. Also, new requests for funding and nonprofit Stepping Out Ministries and Hamblen County Substance Abuse Coalition. There are those requests. Now we'll move into our sanitation fund overview.
Mayor, real quick.
You missed.
On the last slide there, has the Morristown Parks and Rec. Is that an increased request?
Sorry, Thomas, I overlooked that one, Commissioner. What that Morristown Parks and Rec, that $200,000 is not included in our budget. Currently, they are funded at $300,000. That is in the budget, but this additional is not. Now, if this body elects to do so or adjusts in some way, that obviously y'all need to discuss that and bring that up. But currently, that extra $200 is not included in our budget.
Thank you, sir.
That's a good point. Good point. Sanitation overview. 24-25, you can see where we set at 2.6 million starting the fund balance last July. Projected revenues, so forth, so on. We expected a $1.8 million fund balance in this June. Moving forward, our proposed budget includes the use of $516,000 of fund balance. But what that's going to do, also, let me back up one thing. In that previous overview of last year, we were able to, it included the purchase of a brush loader, a rear loading garbage truck, and a side loading garbage truck. In other words, we're catching up. Where sanitation has fell behind with equipment, maintenance costs have escalated astronomically. We are making a real effort to upgrade sanitation. Not only newer equipment safer, but yet lower cost as far as maintenance and keeping things. I think there was one day they had to use like a number of trucks just to complete one route because of breakdowns back and forth. And I think it may have been like 6 trucks or more that they had to switch in and out just for one route. That was terrible. So this budget for this year, proposed budget uses $516,000, right at $517,000 of fund balance. That includes a $470 purchase of an additional garbage truck, additional $300,000 in disposal fees, $30,000 in maintenance and repair services, $11,000 overtime. Y'all see the numbers. $13,000 in insurance premiums, workman's comp, and liability. Those are real costs that will recur. Okay, minus the garbage truck, all those costs reoccur. So when you're at 516 fund balance, we can't sustain that very long. It'll be something to look at. We do have a healthy fund balance in there, a projected fund balance at the end of the end of fiscal year next June, 1.3, and we're still in good shape. Okay, let's move on to highway. The previous year, we had no capital equipment purchases, and we started the fund with 619, 3.2 in revenues, and we ended the year at 1.1 million in the fund balance for this year. So moving to the coming year, we're expecting to use 93,000, right at 94,000 from the fund balance, and it includes 30,000 for additional equipment parts, 45 in salt expenses, 8,000 for the radio. We trying to get the highway department, sanitation department with the radio that everyone else has, where they can get the real-time information as the sheriff's department and other emergency folks have when in times of bad weather, what have you, or incidents out in the road. They're in the public. They're in the neighborhoods. So that is one of the reasons that's being advocated. We also, in this fund this year, we're splitting up the cost of electricity, phone, propane costs, splitting that with the sanitation fund. But you can see the fund balance slightly down, but still healthy. Now comes a big part. So my office and finance department, these are the numbers that we would like for you to consider for a cost of living raise. This body needs to consider. So just keep in mind 4.5 in the red to begin with. Any number we choose here adds to that number. Okay? Any number you choose here adds to the other. So overall, if you add 3% COLA across the board for each and every employee of our county, that's $443,000. That will be added to your 4.5, 4.6. Does that make sense? So you're close to $5 million. That's what I'm getting at. And therefore, also, full disclosure that the Sheriff's Department has requested a 10% increase in their department. We've broke this out in several different ways where you, the commission, the legislative body can consider each option. What's needed right there. But we have 3%, 4%, and 5% for COLA for everyone in the county. But then if you take out the highway department, you can go back and, take out the sheriff's department, that 10% request, if you fund that, choose to fund that on its own, and then the others, you can see the numbers. That makes sense? One thing also to remember, that 443, if you go back to the top, that 443 is everybody in the county. I said that wrong because it does not include the sanitation or the highway fund. Those raises will come out of different funds. So those fund balances change as well. So I did misstate that. Any questions? General Debt Service Fund overview. Our proposed budget includes an increase of $78,000 in the fund balance in debt service. Revenue is mainly from property tax and our interest income. A decrease is due to a payoff of one of our bonds issued in 2008. Projected fund balance for this year on 7/1/25 was $13.7 million. Our projected revenues, 9.9, almost $10 million, and then expenditures, again, almost $10 million, and we expect our fund balance to slightly grow just slightly to 13.8. So it is a healthy debt service fund balance. Next slide gives you a breakdown of our total debt payments compared to annual revenue. Next slide, Hamblen Highway Capital Project Fund Overview. So we fund this revenue, this is funded with a wheel tax, $23. We're estimating in the coming year. Initially, we thought this would gain more. Amanda, how many cars did we estimate now? 63,000 vehicles and I think the first estimation was a few more $1,000. So we're down to where we thought we were at $1.5 million in annual revenue from the wheel tax. We're at 1.3. Investment income, it pays for the hot mix and crushed stone. We added $365. It leaves $1.8 million for paving projects in fiscal year 25-26. Okay, our next slide, school maintenance of effort. We expect that to maintain there. Again, if you'll look back, we've been at this since the new TISA formula came out. Our school maintenance of effort has basically been flatlined. Thankfully, we were ahead. We expect their revenues this year to actually exceed by $1.5 million. That's through the maintenance of effort is completed by property tax plus the sales tax revenue that they'll have. Any questions in that?
What is that required fund balance that the state requires us to fund the school this year?
Chairman, we are required to fund $27,356,000.
Okay, but what does the state say we should be at under the new?
It is less, thank you. It is less, but I do not know that actual figure. I should have had that for you, but I do not have it right now. But yes, we are under. However, if you recall, we've had this debate in the past where we moved some property tax from the school system. It's down to 48 cents, and our proration of that. We're at the breaking point. You know, if sales tax revenue flats like we project right now, that's not an option as far as moving property tax from this fund back to general fund or something. I would not recommend that. We might dip below that line and have to make it up in another way. So I would not recommend that. I think last year's move was about as far as you could go until you have more data.
It's projected, what, in 2027 that catches up what the state
I believe that's
state says?
correct.
Okay.
Again, I don't have that exact figure, but we may sustain one more year and be right there where we need to be, but eventually it will catch us. And we knew that, and thankfully we've had a few years that we didn't have to worry about maintenance of effort. In the past, we've also did one-time payments to the school system that did not count to maintenance of effort. And that was, a good move as far as that goes. But we are at that point that it's something that we don't need to probably look at removing any more property tax from their fund.
Thank you.
Any others? Okay, we go to our county services survey. 515 have responded to our county services, and rankings were 1 to 5. Of course, 1 the lowest and 5 the highest. And the most important county services, no surprise here: highway, road maintenance, sheriff's department, garbage pickup, education. Citizens are most satisfied with our garbage pickup. I think that is the most tangible asset that our county has as far as service. Garbage pickup. I think we'd all have to leave the county if we advocated to remove garbage pickup. So, that said, citizens are satisfied with that, and they're least satisfied, and I understand the angst, code enforcement and animal control. And those are avenues that are really hard to deal with, and both those guys, or both those departments, I'm glad they can do what they do. However, there's always debate as to how something's handled. Is it handled? It could be handled differently, possibly. But that is the citizens' response. Surveys shows that citizens would prefer to see an increased budget for education and highway maintenance. That's what the survey showed. So you can go through. I don't need to bore you necessarily with the details, but I think, for example, highway maintenance was 4.6, and we all understand that. Everybody wants the roads looked at. Garbage pickup, 4.5. These are all important services. Education, 4.4. The sheriff's department is 4.5. I'm grateful for these things. And then we go to, obviously, the satisfaction rate. That may drop just a bit, as far as there's always room for improvement. I think we can all agree to that. And you can also dive in a little deeper as far as how to spend the budget. More or less, you can go through that. Don't need to bore you with the details, but they're there if you'd like to study or talk about. Any questions on the survey? I think it shows an important part of those that have responded of a reflection of what our county views as our strong points and our weak points. It is a reflection of that. Also, our next point would be, how do people, this is a dilemma in my mind. It is a certain dilemma because I'm of a different generation, which maybe most of us are, but they prefer social media over everything as far as how they get their information. And I use that the least. But I have a dad that's looking at the paper. You see what I'm saying? There's a divide here. The county website, that's the second choice for information. But if you put most of our information on social media or the county website, and then you miss someone, I didn't know. It's a dilemma, and I think it's something that we have to work on and continue to move our county in the right direction, to advocate for what's best for us, or let the people know. We've made our mistakes in the past over one thing or the other, and we're trying to learn and move forward and do better. Summary of the major changes. New department positions, vehicle request, increase in maintenance agreements. That's been across the board. We've had the cost of doing business. Everyone, I think you all know that it just increases. It does not decrease, and what you feel at home is felt within this county. Justice Center staffing, no doubt. We have increased cost with a Justice Center that is about to open up. And one point I will make in the Justice Center staffing is it didn't matter what style of jail you built. It didn't matter where you put the jail. In other words, if you build a bigger Walmart, you got to have more people. And that's where we're at. It didn't matter. We could have built it on 25E. We could have built a one-level jail. I remember Jim Hart, TCI at the time. He's now a full-time CTAS. He was here. He said the difference in a one-level and a single-level jail, single-level or one-level jail to a multi-story was less than 10 corrections officers. That was the difference, and that was debatable in how you used it. The point is, this jail staffing was going to be incurred no matter what. When we open up a new facility, there's no doubt we have new employees, and each of those employees is recurring costs. There is no doubt. I can admit to you right now, we have new costs. We've had, how many officers are we looking at now? Captain, Chief, which one are you? Do we know how many we're looking at now? 23 more?
Yeah, 23 left to go.
23 left to go. And that'll be in this year's budget. You know, if as Burwell report indicated, we hope to be opening a jail with inmates by October. So there you go. Our cost will be incurred. And we don't know the end of the story just yet. We know we're going to have to be in operation a year before we understand the full cost of any of it. We also have a health department that's coming on board at some point. Again, that one as well, we don't know exactly when it will. It increased insurance, increased utilities. Those are all real costs that will come to this county that we have to incur. Pay increases. Once we adopt a COLA, that's each and every year. So those are things, and so I'm going to wrap up my portion. I hope I've not bored you to death. I want to know if you have any questions, and if you do, we'll answer now. If not, I will be glad to discuss, open up. There's a lot to do here, folks, and once we go through each department's budget, there'll be more questions. And as we've done in the past, we'll take these questions, we'll take these answers that we can provide and go back and adopt and amend and work this budget to where it's agreeable to this body. Is there any questions? Yes, sir.
Mayor, do we have any idea when the salary survey that we've been waiting on will show up?
Commissioner, I would love to be able to tell you. And no, sir, we do not expect that at this point. We had expected that this spring, and we're in spring, actually coming head on into summer pretty doggone quick. We don't have that answer. I know some departments have been enlightened as a possibility, but no, sir, I do not have that. And true to what you just asked, if that were to come today, we would include that as a possibility as to consider. But obviously, it depends on level of a salary study that came. It could take a couple years to implement. Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know from the Sheriff's Department, 23 is a lot of people we don't have, right? We'll need it in October, is that it? Or we need it now?
To function at its optimum, what we need, absolutely.
As in now or October?
Well, prior to the facility opening and running functional with full inmates.
Yeah. 10% is a lot. You want to tell me, I mean, are they running off to another county or?
Well, it's a multi multitude of things. Retention is a big problem.
Yeah.
Like the 25 corrections officers that we've hired to start staffing that facility, we've probably hired 125 to get to that point. Like, it's not the most glamorous job.
Yes,
And
sir.
the way that you get these people in today is you pay them. And that's not just saying the job, though. There's a big facet to that. Like, 10% sounds like a big number, but it's because we went without a raise for 8 to 10 years. And that hurts when you're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
We're grateful for the last few years, no doubt about it, but we're just playing catch up and we haven't caught up.
Okay.
You have to attract new What's he saying? Bad as hell?
No.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Obviously, it's something, again, this body will have to take
Yeah.
a hard look at. And again, I'm hopeful in the idea. I say I'm hopeful. I think the Hamblen County Sheriff's Department is hopeful as well. Once the new facility opens up, it will create a buzz. It'll be a safer, better place to work, not only for the inmates, but truly for the staff. Currently, they're in a terrible situation if you've ever walked through. I don't know if everyone has or not. Yes, ma'am.
I had a question, if you didn't care to finish with Mr. Cribley, or Officer Cribley, I apologize for the wrong title. How many officers do you have at present?
Beyond what we were already staffed with,
What you have right now?
we were, for just the jail, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We had 50 running the current jail. We've staffed it with about 25 more, so we're probably at 75.
You've got 75 officers on payroll for the jail right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And that's 24/7.
Yeah, it says 24/7. You have to think about the staffing and different shifts, vacations, sick leave, different, different things and trying to operate. But again, we certainly feel that once it opens up, the word will get out.
Yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
And many of y'all have walked through the new facility. It'll definitely be a safer, better place to work if corrections is your idea. Any other questions? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a lot of information to take, deposit in your brain, and I would ask you to take this and write any questions that you have on any section, so that when we come back to address these issues, that you will have those questions in front of you.
Do we have a time on Saturday, or time on?
This time, we will move to 4B, Recovery Court, and that's tab 27 in your budget book. I'd ask for Ms. Wiggin-Knight, floor is yours.
Thank you for letting me come tonight. My husband thanks you, since we're supposed to be camping at Shenandoah National Park this Saturday.
Aw.
We've got 3 budgets, I believe, 3 line items. The first one is recovery court, or what you know is drug court. You can see that the overall ask for 25-26 did decrease. And this is partly due to the expansion grant absorbed some of our costs. So I've asked, please remember that in 4 years if we don't still have the federal grant. And you'll note that on line 100, it said that it's paying me for 100%. That change was actually made in 24-25 after we went through an audit with my salary being split between 2 grants with the state. The finance department has made a decision that is not a good idea. So recovery court fully funds my salary. It doesn't come out of any grants. And then you can see there's a big decrease. We did not use this year in the line 399 for other contracted services. We didn't need that like we thought we were going to do. Plus, again, the expansion grant is covering some of those expenses that the county was covering before. Is there any questions on the drug court one? That's 330, account 330.
Ms. Knight, do you all use your own cars?
Yes, we have to.
Reimbursed for gas?
There's, we don't have a car for recovery court. The nonprofit has a car that the city gifted them. So we use gas, but the nonprofit keeps it running, maintenance and insurance. And then mental health court has a vehicle that did belong to animal control. Now, the mental health court they don't interchange because we can't blur where the gas is coming from and all that stuff.
Any other questions? Not, we'll move to tab 30 in your book.
Mental health court, that's account 900, as you can see, this is all reimbursed by the state grant. Everything we do is invoiced to the state grant. We won't spend the $150 this year, but we did request to expand this court. Mental health court is in general sessions and criminal, and we did just get permission and expand the criminal court to the other 3 counties in our district, Hawkins, Hancock, and Greene. So the state increased our budget to $180 for 25-26. So that would include, if the caseload numbers would require it to do so, we would add a 3rd case manager sometime after October, if the numbers are there to do that. Any questions on the mental health court? Again, all those funds are reimbursed through the state grant. And recovery court, going back to 330, we have a state grant for it too. It's $103,000, and our participants pay a $1,000 program fee that is just put in the general fund though. So we don't know. I mean, we can keep up with that to how much they've paid. So if we've got 90 people in our court right now. Before they graduate, they'll pay $1,000. And it could take anywhere from 18 months to, we've got somebody in our program right now for 28 months. But before they leave, nobody gets a pass on that. I lied. We have one person get a pass, and that's because he went to TCAT the entire time and got his welding. Only one person has gotten a pass. So if you can think about that, that's, out of our people, that represents $90,000 into the general fund.
Any other questions? We'll move on to tab 42.
The expansion grant, this is our federal grant through SAMHSA. And what you see there, we've got a budget that's presented to them, and we really don't even have line items. We've been, what do you call it, Amanda, when we're spending down? Yeah, because it's 100% reimbursed up to $400,000 a year for 5 years. This is what's paying for 3 personnel. You can see that this line item is paying for a lot of the drug screens. That's probably I've told you before, it's the biggest expense. So that's where that increased $330, because they're picking up the cost here. The other contracted services is a large amount. Part of the expansion grant was to do 2 things: to provide case management and to provide individual counseling therapy by a licensed clinician, master's level clinician. So our partnership is with Health Connect America. They get about 25% of the grant. The other contracted amount is for our person who is our evaluator. Any questions on the expansion grant? Y'all got to come see us on Thursday at 12:45. Come, anybody? It's an open court. I'd love for y'all to visit.
I would like to ask a question. If we didn't have these programs here, how many of these would be in the county jail?
Sheriff Mullins likes to, he often goes because he said he'd be open in a full jail. So right now, currently, out of those 90 people is almost 60 of them are from Hamblen County. So that'd be 60 more people sitting in jail.
At their expense.
Not working, not paying taxes.
Thank you very much for what you do and bringing this to us.
Well, I love it. Thank you again for letting me come tonight.
Can't hold it any longer.
This Thursday at 12:30.
It's every Thursday at 12:45. Most of the time, we try to meet in the Justice Center. We've had to go to actually doing a docket. We've got so many people in court, and you can stay as little or as long as you want to. But it's people really like to come. It's encouraging to come, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
I'd like for you to make sure that Saturday, May the 17th, at 9 a.m. will be our Saturday budget workshop. Not sure how long it will go, but we've got a lot of work to do. And then our following May commission meeting is on May the 22nd. Before we adjourn tonight, I would ask that Captain Kriegley, would you come to the well, please?
That's going to be in the courthouse.
I can tell you what this is a value this commission had prior for me when I had open heart surgery. I'm quite sure the Lord answered quite a few prayers. Okay. We're adjourned. It meant the world to me. And Captain, I want you to know this commission and all the people in Hamblen County are praying for you. And I would ask that we step around Mr. Kriegley, and I would ask Mr. Holland, would you lead us in prayer?
Want me to help you up, old man?
Yeah. Come on in here.
Did want to say a couple of things real quickly. Young man played football for me a long time ago. He and his twin brother. I'm never more shocked when I found out they was on this side of the wall. No, I'm just kidding. But we love him. I do want to say this, though. He wants to laugh his yeah, I'm just excited. This young man right here is getting married Saturday, and to one of the most beautiful, lovely little gals, who's also a former student. And I tickled death for him, and got a battle ahead of him, we'll be there every step of the way. So let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we evoke upon you now your power, your wisdom, and your grace, God. We ask that to be in favor of David Chris. A lot of miles ahead. God, we just know through your wonderful power, your wonderful love, that the outcome will be positive. David and I have spoken of his heart and his mind and his soul. He's given it over to you. He's cruel with everything. But we will keep this man here with us for a while. We're selfish. But we ask you to bring complete help. Bring wonderful and happy marriage. And we just ask that you bless him, Kristen, and go through life, Lord. And continues to be, continues to be a steadfast part of our community. Love you to death. Ask you, God, lay your hands on the ground.
vote that, pass that, and then you play.